Hi, everyone. We have got a new book to launch. And is this one different? It absolutely has. And the author is Stephen Bouris. Welcome, Stephen.
Thanks for having me, Susan. I'm so excited to be here today, and only feels like yesterday that we just started the journey, but today we're launching different.
I know. How exciting is that? So, of course, it's different because the book is called Different. And we're going to talk about why that is. And it's different coming face to face with your uniqueness. And I absolutely love that. There's so many people that you're going to help with this book. But firstly, Stephen, you were born with a rare birthmark on your face called a nevus, which I've just started to learn about, which is great. That's why we're here, bringing awareness. And this has undoubtedly shaped your life. How has your relationship with your nevus and with yourself changed over the years?
Oh, wow. Immensely, immensely. I think through childhood, I didn't understand how to navigate the challenges with it. So everyone else's reactions and society's reactions to me and behaviors towards me built up this perception that I started not liking myself because I was getting reactions from everybody else. And I internalized them to pain and suffering inside. And I didn't know how to share them with other people because I didn't meet others like me with a nevus. So I was like, how can you relate to what I go through? So I suppressed it. And yeah, it was through child and even through adulthood. There's aspects I didn't like about myself. I didn't like seeing myself in photos. And it got quite painful that I just suppressed it all. And then as I've unpacked writing my journey and opening up about my experiences only the last couple of years, I started letting go of that pain. I started letting go of that anger and that hurt inside. And once I was able to release that, I was able to start just seeing me and started embracing and celebrating myself and celebrating my uniqueness and allowing myself to be unapologetically me. So it's drastically changed from pain.
I love that. Unapologetically you. I love that because kids can be cruel, right? And people can stare. And when you're born with something like this, it's your whole life. And so it's going through those primary school years where, like I said, kids can be cruel, even adults. I mean, in your book, you share a story about how you were photoshopped in a school portrait. I mean, that's just shocking on the school's behalf. But how did that experience like shape your early limiting beliefs? And how have you come to terms with this as an adult?
Yeah, it was probably one of the biggest events that impacted me. I was 13 years old, felt it really felt isolating. It removed me from the crowd. It pointed me out, and it's probably one of the most pivotal points where I felt really alone. You pull a kid out of a photo of 700 people and identify him, it really felt that I was, yeah, quite alone in the world.
Yeah,
Um,
because it would be like you weren't accepted as you were. And that's terrible for a teenager or for anyone.
yeah, it was, and that's what it resembled. I felt alone, and that reinforced my alonement, right? That I wasn't accepted, and what's helped me transition out of that, or what went further in that, because we're going to get scenarios in life that are challenging. But what I've realized and what writing the book has helped me realize is that it's not so much the instance, but how the support comes around it or how we deal with the scenarios afterwards that actually define how they go on in life.
And I love this book is it's going to help other kids and it doesn't necessarily just need to be a nevus. If someone is dealing with some other differences, we'll talk about that as well. There's a lot in the book that people need to read, and I think a lot of people will get a lot out of it, whether it's actually a nevus or differences and things like that. We will talk about more about in the book, but you talk about uncovering eventually the real Stephen beneath the fear, beneath the birthmark. For someone currently feeling redefined in their own difference or insecurity, whether visible or invisible, because there is a lot of differences in that we don't actually visually see like we can with yours. What's the first step in separating their true identity from their perceived fears or their perceived beliefs?
Yeah, great question, and I love it. And it's not something that I actually practiced for the first 42 years of my life, but more recently definitely is. And what our fears you tend to do to us is make us silence and suppress, internalize. And when we go into that internal dialogue in our heads, we just convince ourselves that everything we're thinking and feeling is true and correct. But the moment we start opening up and share it with others, letting go of some of that shame and just expressing it, getting some of that pain out, then we can actually shift and the healing can start beginning. And we start actually seeing external perspectives, not just our own internal lens. And just by talking it through and sharing it and not having others try to fix us, but just listening and observing it and absorbing it allows us to free ourselves from it. And it's usually us that helps shift it. But simply sharing is the first step for everyone.
I remember that, and there is a part, and people will need to read that in the book, but there is a part where you do get asked a question and things start unraveling. And I know when I met you many years ago, just your presence when you walk in a room is phenomenal. And I don't even see the nevus. I see the Stephen because you walk in with such confidence, but that's you who changed that. And then you've changed the perception of everyone around you because you just are stepping up. And not only are you stepping up, you're moving from that shameful silence and being a global keynote speaker. It's a massive leap from someone that was sort of not out there to kind of putting himself right out there and doing the most challenging part of finding your voice and navigating the vulnerability of sharing your raw, honest stories for the first time. And it's helping you, but gosh, it's helping others. And it's also just, I see the light come out where I could never imagine what you were like back then. You just look like this such confident person. Tell me, you're moving into this. What was it like for you when you did it for the first time, got up and started sharing your story?
It was terrifying. I'm not gonna lie, but I think when we push ourselves into those most challenging situations and we come through the other side, you start
Mhm.
building this strength in you and you start building this belief that, you know what, I was so afraid of doing that, but now that I've achieved it, I'm so excited. What else can I achieve? So it's by putting ourselves in those positions to challenge the limiting beliefs and our fears and lean into them and come through the other side, we realize they weren't that scary to begin with. But it is terrifying, but they're the most rewarding. I mean, I remember my first big stage. Actually, probably the big stage was over in the US, and the relief and the elation felt, and it's like, why have I not wanted to put myself in this position? I mean, fear kept me away from it, but once you experience that adrenaline and the elation and that celebration of breaking through that fear, it's next level. And you just want to continue giving and helping and seeing you making a difference in someone else's life. There's nothing more rewarding than that.
Absolutely love that. And honestly, this book is something that people should, you will learn a lot about for themselves, but they're also going to learn a lot about what they could possibly even get the book and pass it on to somebody else that might be struggling. It's really about that transition from that little boy all the way through. And now, like I said, speaking on global stages, amazing. If you could go back and talk to the young Stephen, what would you say?
Oh, it's what I'd say to young Steve would be to you are you. You are who you are and embrace who you are. Don't allow others' fears or perceptions or their judgments to change how you feel about yourself because you're unique and beautiful just the way you are, and your voice is just as important as anyone else's. So just keep believing in you, and that will take you long and far.
I love that. I love that. I think we all need to, as adults, we always need to go back and nurture and speak to that younger self. So thank you, Stephen, for trusting in us. Thank you for bringing this amazing book, Different, coming face to face with your uniqueness. It's going to help so many. I'm so excited to get this book out into the world. And yeah, congratulations, published author. And yeah, you truly are making a difference with your story.
Thanks for all the support, Susan, and the team at Dean Publishing. It's been an incredible experience. Being such a personal story, I couldn't have done it without the support that I've been provided by you and the team. It's been absolutely next level. I've loved sharing the journey with you guys, and I'm excited to see where we all go in the future.
Beautiful. It's our honor to be able to get this book out there. So thanks so much. The link is below. Grab yourself a copy, grab yourself a copy and pass it on to a friend or someone. There's so much in there that Stephen shares with his journey that has helped him, but also will help so many others on their journey. We've all got our differences, like you said, whether they're visual or whether you can't see them, we've all got our differences. And I think some of the messages in this book will really help us embrace ourselves for who we are. And I love that message. So thank you, Stephen. Grab the book, the link below. Bye for now.